A bigger question that I'm asking with the release of Scarlet Enclave, the brand new raid came out to Discovery, is it too hard for the classic WoW player? And what I mean by that, it's not a matter of like skill, and it's not a matter of like, oh, are classic WoW players bad and retail players are good. It's not about that. It's about, does hard equal good? And I mean like good quality. Does it mean like it's a good product just because it's hard? And I don't necessarily think the answer to that is yes. Really what's good is tending to the audience of the game that's being played. Here's the deal. As someone that's done Mythic rating, high-end Mythic Plus and retail, I love the Super Challenge. I love 8 million mechanics going at once. I love super hyper-focusing on everything on my screen. That's just my preference. I enjoy the fast-paced 8 million things, track my debuffs, 74 recars, 97 add-ons. I enjoy all of that. However, when I play Classic, I enjoy knocking my chair back a few notches and just playing a slower paced, more chill experience. The game is just different. It's more about getting the gear. It's more about the journey. It's not even necessarily about like super high-end complex combat. It's just about, man, sitting back, enjoying the progress you've made. The damage you're doing in game isn't even necessarily because you've mastered your rotation, because the rotations are relatively simple. It's about the gear that you worked so hard to get. That is the experience. And what they've done now, the Scarlet Enclave raid, is they've added what feels like retail-esque mechanics. And as someone that did the raid last night, we didn't get the first boss down, but I did get a chance to get some experience and progress on the first boss. It was a lot of fun. This boss I thought was really well made. I thought it was super epic. But if I'm being honest, after only doing it for one night with a more casual guild, really loved the people I was playing with, great people, but these are not world first sweaty gamers. These are just your typical moms and dads, working jobs, gamers, like most of us that play classic and not necessarily retail, where they're used to a few things going into a raid that has already been figured out for literally 20 years. They're also going into a raid where, if we're just being honest, the mechanics are relatively simple. So there was two things that were working against, I think, the current player base, where only like 200 teams in the world have killed this boss. In Classic, we're used to literally speed runs where how fast will the world first team kill the raid? And like literally some raids have died in like 45 minutes or less. But now for 4 hours, people are wiping on the first boss. Vastly different experience. And I think there's two things going against that. One of them is going in blind, meaning not knowing the mechanics, where nobody knows the mechanics. A lot of people are used to going into a raid where they don't know the mechanics, but somebody knows the mechanics and they explain it to them and they kill the boss. But now we're going to a raid where nobody knows the mechanics. So that, I think, is the first new challenge, but I don't think that is wrong. I think that's just going to happen with anything new, right? No PTR testing, nothing like that. That, I think, is an unavoidable challenge that Classic players will just have to overcome. But the second one is due to the level of tuning, meaning just how hard the boss hits, damage, its health, and then it's just overall mechanics, where like there's a lot of very specific things you need to execute. There's a lot of personal responsibility that if one person screws something up, it actually affects other people. And then tracking these mechanics while playing. I could be wrong. I'm just not sure if a majority of the Classic audience is looking for. I'm not sure, and I don't want to speak for them because, again, I play way more retail than I do play Classic. I do have a max level character in SOD. I did do the raid on day one last night, but I'm definitely more of a retail player. But I know for me, when I log out of retail and I'm like, dude, I want to log on a SOD, I'm looking for a chill, more simple experience because I want it to feel like Classic. This raid, even though it's only the first boss, which relatively and historically is normally the easiest boss in a raid, when I started noticing these mechanics, I started activating retail mode. Just my brain started going to it. I downloaded a weak aura. There was a debuff called something of swarm. You have to track, and instantly I was like, hey, what add-on do I need to download to mess with my UI so I can move everything around so that I can do what I do in retail, where I move my debuffs right below my player frame and I make them very large so I instantly see them and am aware. I started trying to, like, with my positioning, min-max. So I figured out something on the fly where basically in this mechanic, you need to stand in this yellow circle, otherwise you're silenced. So all ranged and any melee that use spells like a rep paladin or a prop paladin tank, you need to be in the circle, otherwise you're silenced, can't do anything. But you need to spread, even if you're in the circle, you need to spread when you get the debuff. So some people would stack in the circle, and when they got the debuff, they would run out. But it's only like a 2-foot radius or something. So I figured out I could stand at the very, very edge of the circle, still get the benefit and not be silenced, but still be far enough away that I didn't have to spread when I got the debuff. So I figured out I could max range this and just stand still. But I started putting on my retail hat, right? And I'm like min-maxing, I'm like, yo, what can I figure out? I personally love that as a longtime retail mythic raider. But I don't know if that's what classic players are looking to do. I don't know. Again, I don't think it's about like one's better than the other. I just think it's about the classic experience where people are just looking to just chill, man. Chill, hit some button, kill some bosses. I'm just not sure. So I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts in the chat, in the comments below. Do you think classic WoW getting harder is better for the game? Because again, I don't necessarily think harder equals better. I think just fun, immersive experience. Like I think that what makes to a better product. And especially if you yourself are a classic player, are you looking for a super challenging experience? I don't know. It's hard for me to really put myself in their shoes because again, I do Mythic Plus and there's like 80 million things happening at once. The game has trained me for these moments. Here's, I think, the best way I would put it. All of classic WoW up to all these years has not trained people for this moment. I think that's probably the best way I can say it. All of classic WoW since 2009 has not trained people for this raid. I wonder if it's an issue. And I wonder if it's going to be too discouraging to a majority of the population unless they absolutely nerf the crap out of this raid. I'm not sure. And I don't know if it's good for the game. I'm sure Blizzard, and they already said they'll keep a very close eye on, you know, on the tuning, on the boss mechanics, and then they'll adjust from there. They could be leaving it very hard to give the Race to World First raiders a serious challenge. And then once they've had that race, they'll nerf it for just the, you know, the general public. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You know, Blizzard does do that basically for the retail race. So we could see that happen here. But I'm gonna lean towards, for the general public, that I don't necessarily think hard is better. I think just something new and fresh and immersive and exciting is good. But I don't know if trying to make SOD too much like retail will end up being good for the game as a whole, even if it is a new piece of content like this. Let me know your thoughts. I am very, very curious to see what people think. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm definitely gonna play it, but I'm not gonna pretend to be, you know, a real classic Andy player because I'm more of a retail guy. But I do love classic and I'm looking forward to more of this type of content in the future.